Hello, welcome to Revenant Reads. I'm Vin, and this is another edition of Fresh Red Kills. So, Fresh Red Kills is where I talk about books that I have recently finished. I'm going to be discussing the three books that I read in the second half of October. I am recording this on Halloween Day, October 31st. I am recording a bunch of videos in a row, so you're going to see me wearing this Exodus t-shirt in multiple videos if you choose to watch those videos. Again, three books I'm going to be talking about is The Haunting of Alma Fielding, a true ghost story. We got Psycho by Robert Bloch, and Mouse. So to begin with, we've got The Haunting of Alma Fielding by Kate Summerscale, which I had not read anything by her before, but I do want to read more things by her because I thought she did an excellent job with this. This is a work of nonfiction, and it talks about a true case of a poltergeist case. Now, it is not a book that basically is claiming that the poltergeist activity was real. Instead, we look at it from the perspective of the main investigator, Nandor Fodor, a Hungarian-born investigator who spent some time living in the United States and also in England. He's in England during the time of this case. And he is basically head for the, he's running one of the councils for, that's right, he's head of the International Institute for Psychical Research. Yeah, big mouthful. They had some competing organizations back then. And he's very interesting. He is somebody who is very scientifically minded. He believes in supernatural activity, but he's very skeptical about ghosts per se. He sees supernatural activity as more likely coming from psychological roots. So he is more of a Freudian. And he essentially believed that people's subconscious can somehow manipulate the world around them. And he comes across this woman, Alma Fielding, who claims that she's basically beset by a poltergeist. Things in her house are flying across the room, big teacups are breaking. She seems to spontaneously have objects come, just around her. She'll yell and all of a sudden there's a ring or something like that. She claims to be able to astral project. And when he first meets her, I'm going to try not to get too spoilery. I'm just going to give a general sense of what was going on here. Because what Summerscale did was she essentially got access to, I don't think that they realized that they were there, Nandor Fodor's many, many documents about this case. So she was able to kind of get what he was thinking, what he was experiencing, his perspectives, and it's seen from his perspective. So she's recreated this as like a narrative history, okay? Not like a scholarly type of thing. It really reads more like a novel, which is, I think, proper for this sort of story. And at first, Fodor is very excited. He thinks that, yes, look at this. We have a genuine poltergeist case. She's passing all these tests, but then as time goes on, he's getting more and more reason to doubt Alma Fielding's sincerity, to doubt her sanity, to doubt her integrity. And he's catching her in little things here and there. And it's fascinating. You're seeing the suspicion start to build. And by the end of it, you're kind of allowed to decide for yourself, was there anything real going on with Alma Fielding, or was it all a hoax? Summerscale is very clear when Fodor is thinking that it's not true, what's going on, but you're kind of left a little bit open to interpretation if you choose to believe that Alma Fielding did go through something supernatural, even if she was embellishing or inventing things at other times. You can walk away with that idea. This is a very interesting insight into that time period, because at the same time, in the backdrop, we have basically the start of World War II, the Nazis on the move, and England gearing up for war. It's a great snapshot of that era. It looks at how spiritualism, basically operated within the middle class in England. Why a woman like Alma Fielding, who might have felt trapped in her marriage, would be attracted to mediumship as a way to kind of escape that marriage and become empowered. And of course, this is all about the after World War I, how many people were flocking to spiritualism, to cope with the horrible loss that first great conflict basically, um, caused within Europe, especially. So it's great. I really really enjoyed this. I was quite impressed with it. Like I said, it reads more like a novel. I wasn't sure if it was going to be able to sustain itself as sustain my interest, but it definitely did. It was very insightful and a really good story. So this was a great winner for me. And again, this also it fit in with Halloween season, of course, but also with Historathon 2023, where we are reading nonfiction history throughout the year. And we are in the fourth quarter, where we look at the years 1820 to present, and this was good nonfiction history for that. Then I read Psycho by Robert Bloch. Of course, Psycho needs no introduction. We all know the famous Alfred Hitchcock film, and I've read quite a few studies about the film. I've even written some things about the film that I haven't quite published, but I've got a big, long essay about Psycho that's, will one day see the light of day. But I hadn't read the whole novel all the way through. I'd only read parts of it. And this was a very quick read, and it's still very impressive, very good. It is very much, in a lot of ways, like the movie, or I should say the movie's like the book. Reading this, I can totally see, Hitchcock, what would have inspired him in this. Some of the best moments in the movie are set up right here inside the book. Bloch has a little bit of a cinematic way even of explaining things sometimes. Norman Bates is very, very interesting. He's not the kind of thin, handsome, Anthony Perkins character. He's fat and, but he's not like morbidly obese. But they do emphasize, or he does emphasize the fact that he's overweight. But it's written very, very well. I love the inner dialogue of Norman Bates in this. It's a fascinating sort of time capsule for the era as well, because we're dealing with essentially a hotel or a motel that is having rough times because of the interstate highways that have come up. So we're seeing the effects of that. We're seeing Americans sort of, on the move, going into suburbs. So much of this has to do with identity. How much can you really know a person? We have many times, there was conversations in here about, they thought they knew somebody really well, and they realized that they knew so little about them. And then ultimately also, how much do you know about yourself? Norman Bates is obviously, if you know anything about Psycho, is somebody who doesn't really know himself in a very extreme way. But we also get other characters in here where we get their sort of perspective in their dialogue, where they're even not sure exactly who they are at certain times, how much of a hold they have on sanity. The post-war era was a time when, at least in the United States, I'm guessing it's the same elsewhere, people were starting to talk more openly about mental health. We just had a war. It was a time when people were more open to go seeing therapists. And Psycho really kind of capitalizes on that, on people's already kind of tenuous hold on sanity. Everybody is also neurotic, it seems, at this time, in the 1950s. And of course, you have inspiration from things like Ed Gein, who wasn't quite a serial killer, but I mean, he did kill some people, but was more of a grave robber, and like to make indoor decorating with human body parts. So we have a lot of different threads in American society coming together in this. And I liked it quite a bit. It was really, really well done. Very quick read, but gives you a lot to chew on, a lot to think about in terms of it being a time capsule, right? An artifact from its time. I think this came out in 1959. Just double check, yeah, 1959. But also Norman Bates is just a fascinating character on his own. So yeah, really like this one quite a bit. Then the last thing that I read in October was this, The Complete Mouth by Art Spiegelman. I had read, so this is, The Complete Mouse is Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, which were originally published separately. I had read Mouse 1 some years back, but I didn't have Mouse 2. And then earlier this year, I think it was, I was in a comic shop and I decided to pick up the complete collection. And so now I'm reading this, especially as part of Historathon. So this is, 20th century history, some of the darkest times. And I have a couple different graphic novels that I'm going to be reading for this quarter of Historathon. And this is just really incredible. Now, going back to this and reading the first part, I had remembered a lot of the stuff from the Holocaust, because essentially what we have here is Art Spiegelman. He is interviewing his father, and he is, of course, showing through a comic book medium what his father went through in the Holocaust. And he depicts Jews as mice, Germans as cats, Poles as pigs. I think Americans end up being dogs, French are frogs, and somebody was insects. Who were insects? I don't quite remember who insects were. So it can be deceptively, it can deceptively appear like it's a child's book, but it is not, of course. It's actually very serious. What I didn't quite remember the first time going back to it was how much of Art Spiegelman's contemporary, present relationship with his father, how much that was also a part of the story. So that's what makes it really, really fascinating. We're not just getting the Holocaust memories, we're also getting the after effects of the war on Art Spiegelman's father, and the difficult relationship that he has with his father, and trying to recapture the memory of his mother, who was also a Holocaust survivor who had committed suicide when he was young. And so it's kind of like this, we keep going back and forth in time in this really interesting way, really satisfying way. So, we kind of have this delayed gratification for these really emotional payoff moments. And I thought this was really good. I mean, it's horrifying, of course, but it's digestible. And the relationship between Art Spiegelman and his father, you can see his father is written as somebody who is very difficult to live with, because of, probably having to do with the Holocaust, what that did to him. But at the same time, you just see how much he loves his son, and how much he just wants to be near him. And there's a sadness there, of a man really at the end of his life, with nobody left around him. There's a lot going on in this, but I'm really glad that I read it, and I'll definitely want to go back to it eventually. So, Mouse, fantastic graphic novel. And those are the 3 books that I read in the second half of October. So, no particular order here, just in size. We got Mouse, we've got The Haunting of Alma Fielding, and we've got Psycho. All 3 of these I would highly recommend. Loved all 3. Read any of these, love to hear your thoughts. And as always, thank you, BookTube.